To make things more entertaining for you who is currently watching this video, I think it's good to start with an example. The example is an email I've received a couple of months ago. So it is a cold email. I don't know who the sender is. Let's see what was written, shall we? Hello, good morning. Did you mean hello or good morning? Your website is amazing and so beautiful. I would like to discuss a business opportunity with you. Our focus on search engine optimization and digital marketing solutions is at an affordable price in your area. We also provide website redesign and mobile app. If you are interested, please share your contact number and requirements. May I send you our quotation? Best regards. Now, let's try to translate it. I have forgotten to add a variation of synonyms. I try very hard to scratch your balls. I would like also very much you to spend your money. Our product is at an affordable price in your area, which doesn't make much sense because I sell digital marketing solutions. Digital. Buy my product. I repeat, buy my product. But this time I highlight it in case you didn't see it in the first place. I know what you are going to tell me. François, this email sucks. And you are absolutely right. It raises one question, however. Why does it suck? I mean, apart from the fact that there are a lot of nonsenses. How to analyze this email? And how can you draw a conclusion to improve your own emailing campaign? One last thing. If you have enjoyed this video, once you have watched it, of course, we have created an online training to further describe a semi-automated system to collect leads and to contact them in an efficient way. It is free of charge. The link is in the description. Before talking about the email in itself, we will try to make assumptions about what was done beforehand, what was done before the writing of the message. If I put myself into the sender's shoes, I might say that there are no defined goals here. Defining our goal is the first step before implementing anything else. Indeed, based on our goal, it will be then much easier to elaborate a suitable strategy. The SMART method is probably the best one to describe what we are looking for. It stands for specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. One cannot deny that there is nothing specific with this email. I simply don't know what he expects from me. Does he want to offer me his SEO expertise, website redesign services, mobile apps? I don't know. The problem is that it seems like there are several objectives at the same time. There is nothing wrong having multiple goals, as long as you keep one single goal for each email campaign. Moreover, the term digital marketing solutions is not specific at all. An example of a suitable goal could be, I don't know, selling 2 subscriptions of my software every week by sending a maximum of 250 emails a day, encompassed in a sequence which will be stopped in 30 days. Once your goal has been clearly identified, we can focus on our target. Or I should have said our targets, because usually speaking, we have more than one target. We have one big target, which can be split up into different subtypes. If we target restaurants, your sales arguments will be different depending on the kind of restaurants you are thinking about. Would you talk the same way to a fast food restaurant and a 3 stars restaurant? Would you talk the same way to a French restaurant and a Mexican one? Would you talk the same way to a small restaurant in a small village and a famous and an international brand you can find in big cities? Of course not. Companies are different. So are their backgrounds, their fears, their goals, their problems. Therefore, they do require a different approach. And the same way as one email campaign is related to a single goal, one email campaign is equal to a single and specific target. The problem here is that the target looks too broad-based. One may assume that his target was everyone having a website, which makes quite a lot of people actually, and it makes me realizing something. I don't have any website. The graph you can see on your screen represents the consumer decision-making process. It shows us the behavior of a customer when he wants to buy something. The 5 steps are the following: need recognition, information search, evaluation of alternatives, purchase, post-purchase evaluation. As you can notice, the purchasing part comes at the end. What needs to be remembered from this method is that selling something is somehow a time-consuming process. And the biggest misconception about automation is that we are allowed to skip the first 3 steps, not to build any trust, and simply claim, hello, we offer blah blah blah, buy my product. It's not gonna work. It's not gonna work because people need time. They need time to know you. They need time to trust you. What we should do is to ask for a conversation prior to a conversion. In other words, we have to use the commitment principle described in the book Influence and Persuasion. Rather than asking for a sale, we ask for something requiring fewer commitment, a conversation or any other added value thing which plays the role of an intermediary step. And the point is that conversation cannot and should not be automated. Still, some people prefer to use automation right away in the hope that their really low conversion rate will be offset by a huge volume. It's not gonna work. Quality over quantity. I can tell you that 250 targeted and personalized messages are way more powerful than 5,000 low-value emails. The more emails you send, the more likely you will kill your deliverability. There is no need mentioning that the email I've received ended up in the spam box. Playing the life and death of your email campaign in a pure game of luck doesn't seem the right thing to do.
Call it.
Here is what we can do to improve our chances. People want to talk to other people. In such regard, I invite you to send the first 100 emails manually. Then we try out different messages, different sequences, until we've got something giving substantial results. At this moment, and at this moment only, it's time to use automation and to scale things up. We can now pay attention to the content of the email. The first thing to be seen in an email is the subject, the title. A title has to be brief. Your prospect doesn't know you yet, so its sole purpose is to prompt an opening by attracting attention. How can we do that? Well, by not doing what he did. It's by far the worst title I have ever seen, given that there is none. Actually, there is one, but he simply wrote down my email address. He could at least have pretended to give a damn.
Vodka martini. Chicken or stirred?
Do I look like I give a damn?
Let's take another example then. Ramp is a company selling personalized t-shirts for companies. So far, nothing fancy. However, a couple of years ago, they wrote what they call the best cold email ever. I don't know if it's truly the best one ever, but indeed, it is a good one. Here is what a random title could have looked like. Looking for personalized t-shirts. According to the FAB model, we are merely describing here the features of the product. It's just a t-shirt, and not how it could benefit to customers. So it's not a very good title. And now, here is what they truly sent. I'm wearing a Your Company t-shirt. If you work at Amazon, the title is I'm wearing an Amazon t-shirt. The title has worked well because it's based on curiosity. You wonder why someone not in your company would wear your t-shirt. We can also use opportunity with a formula like how to achieve X results without whatever constraint. We can find a lot of examples. However, examples have to be taken for what they are. Examples. The best way is to A/B test your own titles several times until you find something working for you. The rule of thumb of copywriting is to follow the AIDA method. It stands for attention, interest, desire, and action. If we come back to our email, I believe attention is here, desire might be around there, and action is at the end. Even though most of the steps are defined, the sales pitch remains irrelevant. Let's find out why. Attention is always represented by the first sentence. As with the title, the aim is to encourage the reader to read the following sentence. Your website is amazing and so beautiful. Actually, if memory serves, I think that flattery is somewhat related to the liking principle from the book Influence and Persuasion. So to some extent, we can use flattery as long as it looks genuine. And the thing is, I don't have a website. And back when I had a website, it wasn't so beautiful. Actually, it was awful, so let's not talk about it. It's possible to write an efficient icebreaker, but it does require a little more effort. First of all, we have to collect data regarding our leads. They don't know us already, but we do. We have to pick up something specific. The last content they uploaded, the last review they received. We can mention a referral. We can ask for a rhetorical question. In any cases, the attention part can only be suitable if we target a small audience. Otherwise, it's not gonna work out. This is why this sentence cannot work. It's way too generic. The prospect must have the feeling that the message has been specifically created for him. Interest comes next, and this part is missing from the email. It's time to emphasize customers' problems. If possible, the problem should be recognized, painful, and urgent. The golden rule is that people don't care about you. They don't care about what you sell. They only care about themselves, about their interests. Even the guy giving money to poor people in the streets mainly care about their ego, about their brand image, whether they recognized it or not. This is why the description of the problem comes early on. I'm not a CEO expert, but maybe he could have said a word regarding missing opportunities. I don't have a website, so I'm missing out on potential customers that I could have had with more exposure. Or maybe my WordPress version is outdated, and this can raise safety issues. Desire. Desire is all about creating the right conditions to encourage prospects to answer our CTA. The only thing he told me is that he sells his services at an affordable price. It looks like a bad joke. Again, it is too generic. What does affordable mean? In the desire part, we try to demonstrate our expertise and to build trust. The purpose is to remove, or at least to minimize as much as possible, what we call loss aversion. We have to show that we are able to bring value and that there is no risk in accepting our call to action. The CTA is considered as the easiest part of the sales argument. However, in that case, we can't really call it a success. There is one good thing, however. The CTA is usually a question. The worst thing he could have done is to send me a link. We never send a link in the first place. We better ask prospects if they want to receive it. Otherwise, it's a red flag showing the email as a spam. Talking about red flags, he asks for a conversion instead of a conversation. Apart from this mistake, he also wrote down 2 CTAs. So I'm confused. I don't know what he expected from me. We always keep 1 CTA for each email sequence. The last common cold email mistake to avoid is not to use a sequence. How to define a sequence? A sequence is a campaign including multiple messages, each one sent at a different time. In that case, it wouldn't make much of a difference because the email is a spam. 0 times 10 always equals 0. In other words, why is it paramount to send multiple messages? There are at least 2 reasons. Number 1, the more messages you send, the more people you will reach out to. It helps you to get a higher exposure. Maybe your first email won't be seen because the receiver is overwhelmed by work. Maybe your second email won't be opened because the receiver is on vacation. Ultimately, your third email might reach his target. The second reason is a bit more subtle. Even if we assume that your first 2 emails have been seen, there is a point in sending a third one, as long as you didn't get a response, of course. Conversion lies in repetition.
Where does it work?
I can't say.
Where does it work?
Sir, I ain't at liberty to give out no information about our residents.
Where does it work?
Did you wonder why an international brand like McDonald's spends over $300 million on advertising every year? Why do they even do that? Alright, from time to time they have to promote a new product, I understand. But what if they don't? Everyone is aware that the brand exists, and everyone knows what their burgers taste. Still, advertising remains relevant because of what we call the mere exposure effect. People tend to develop preferences for things because they are familiar with them. If I want chocolate spread, I always buy a jar of Nutella, simply because I've never heard of other brands. In the wonderful world of advertising, it is also known as the rule of 7. It states that a potential customer needs to see your brand at least 7 times before they commit to a purchase decision. In other words, in a world where people can't handle 10 seconds of nothing, it's important to stay at the top in customers' minds. It raises one question. What is the ideal number of repetitions? What is the ideal number of emails? 7? No. A sequence mustn't look like harassment. But sending 3 messages is a minimum and 5 is a maximum. We never send more than 5 emails because number one, it's kind of embarrassing. If we don't get a response at this point, it simply means our prospect is not interested. Number two, the more messages you send, the less new people you will reach out to. If your first message reached 50% of your whole audience, your second one might reach 25% of your whole audience. And the third one will reach 12.5%, and so on. At some point, another message is simply not worth sending. When we talk about repetition, we don't mean doing the very same thing over and over again. There is no use sending the very same email 3 times in a row. Each email is more impactful if it is unique. We can choose a different angle. For example, the first message can underline customer problems. The second one can bring value by offering a free resource. And the last one can be a case study or a testimonial, in which case we apply the social proof principle. We can also use different marketing channels by implementing a, multi-channel campaign. You can complement an email campaign with a phone call or with a LinkedIn message. The only thing that has to remain the same, no matter what, is your CTA. Obviously, creating an email campaign is not only about knowing what mistakes to avoid. It's also about implementing the right infrastructure. This part is mostly explained in the online training, but we are going to discuss the first step together. We are going to discover how to get real-time data, how to retrieve email addresses and additional data fields, which comes in handy when we will create our different targets. And we can gather our leads thanks to Scrub.io. All you need to do if you want to make use of Scrub.io is to create your own account. And once it is done, you will have access to your dashboard. I invite you to click on it in order to take a look at how Scrub.io works. This is the place in which you will be able to retrieve all your leads. We've got a couple of filters, so let's start with the first one, activity. Activity means a category, meaning which category you want to choose for your campaign. And if you are not aware of it, there are around 4,000 different categories listed on Google Maps. Obviously, I cannot show you all of them, but keep in mind that Google Maps is a perfect platform if you want to target small or medium-sized businesses. The kind of businesses you can see by just walking down the streets, businesses you can see in your everyday life. Your first task is to pick up the right category. For example, if you want to target a restaurant, well, it could be a good idea, but is it accurate enough? As you can see, you've got lots of different restaurants. You've got a Thai restaurant, a dojo restaurant, I don't even know what that is, I'm sorry, a Swiss restaurant, a Dutch restaurant, and so on. So you've got a lot of different subtypes. So maybe it could be a good idea to segment your market even more. I can choose another category, for example. Depending on the plan you choose, you can get your category at the scale of an entire country or at the scale of an entire state, which is related to what we call a level 1 division. Same thing with a level 2 division, which is a county in our case, or at the scale of a city, the same way as you can do it on Google Maps. Let's choose another country. So we don't have all countries in the world, but we've got quite a lot. So if I want to change it from Poland to United States, I can perfectly do that. I click on it, I can choose, I don't know, maybe Tennessee As an example, I can say, I'm not really familiar with American counties, but maybe as a city I can type Nashville or something. Or I can directly type Nashville and forget about Tennessee. It will make much sense. Nashville, I click on search, and I will be able to have an overview of my results. I'm perfectly aware that I've got 1,337 results. The thing is that I can segment my leads even more. As you can see, I've got a filter button, and if I click on it, I will be able to split my leads in different subcategories. So you've got essential filters and advanced filters depending on what you are looking for. The first one is a bit enigmatic, main activity only. If you don't know, on Google Maps you've got a primary category, which is a single category, and you've got different secondary categories. So in our case, we've got a bar, but a bar can also be a restaurant, or can be, I don't know, a hotel, a cafe, or whatever else. So if I say that I want to get restaurants as a main activity, I can click on yes. I can also get closed restaurants. In some cases, they are also displayed on Google Maps. Restaurants with a website, a phone number, email addresses, Facebook link, Instagram links, YouTube links, Twitter links, LinkedIn links. So all of these filters are essential filters. Most of them are directly displayed on a Google Maps detail page. So we've got a website. In some cases, we've got a phone number, not in this case, however, but we don't have email addresses or social media links. I know there is an Instagram account here, but this is an exception. The idea is that we will get this information by scraping the website. What about advanced filters now? Google Maps listed claimed. If we say yes, it means that companies are at least aware that they have a Google Maps detail page. Another thing which is really interesting in our case is price range. Because if I want to target upmarket restaurants, I will send them a different message than if I contact, well, cheap restaurants. If I'm a web agency, I might want to target restaurants with a pretty bad rating, from 1 to 3, for example, with less than, I don't know, 30 reviews, or with less than 5 pictures or something like that. I can perfectly do that. Last but not least, I can target restaurants with a contact form on their website, or with ad pixels. Let's try something a bit random. I want to target restaurants with an Instagram link with a price range of $3 symbol and ad pixel on their websites. I filter and I will get fewer results, obviously, but much more targeted ones. If I think my file is relevant enough, I can export it. As you can see, all the exports I have done so far are located within the My Exports tab. I can perfectly delete a file, or I can update a file, in which case it will launch the very same workflow with the same settings. The only difference is that I will get newer results. And the more updated your result is, the more relevant your email campaign will be. My extraction is completed. I can download my file in a CSV or Excel format. This is the end of the video. I hope you have enjoyed it. If it's the case, you can give a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And if you want to get more details about what we have discussed, if you want to have access to more examples, you can still get the online training for free by clicking the link in the description. See you next time.